TPC, good morning. Ghost Cobb is in the closet studio. We're going to shoot a couple videos today. Going to be VRs. I'm going to try to get caught up here on them. It just seems like there's a lot of them going around right now, and I'd like to show support to them, but in the same sense, would like to try to get a couple more videos in other than that on my channel. It just seems like that's all I've been doing. So I'm going to try to knock a couple out today, and hopefully that catches me up to date. This here VR is for a good friend of mine, Mr. Ty. He goes by Swamp Piper 84. He's a very good friend of mine from Florida, and Ty is celebrating 500 subs, which is an amazing milestone. So congratulations, Ty, brother. It couldn't happen to a better feller. So if you have not found Ty yet, I don't know how that could be. But if for some reason you have not found Mr. Ty, please hit the little arrow button and go down to the basement below there, and his name and his link will be there. And you can hit him up, and definitely we can get you sub to him and get you into the GAW as well. Obviously, if I'm in the closet studio, I'm not smoking, so I'm having a cup of mud. Starbucks Kenya blend today. I had to remember which one I put in there. Fantastic blend. I really enjoy it. So, Ty's big question is history on where you live, or some family history. I was going to do history on where I live, but it's just so, it's difficult. I'm not very well knowledged on the history of Gettysburg. I live here in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. I am pretty close to the battlefield. However, I didn't want to butcher it up and show disrespect to it, so I opt to go with family history. So that's what I'm going to cover today. So a little bit of cool family history. My mom grew up outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and my father grew up here in the local area in which I live. Both on farms. Ironically enough, both of the homes were on Church Street, which is really cool, and they're about 3 hours apart. I thought that was kind of cool. My mom and my dad met by just odd chance. My mom and my Uncle Glenn were supposed to go out on a date, and my uncle was serving in the United States Navy, and he was called to his ship to set sail, so therefore he didn't have time. I mean, it was okay, yes sir, no sir. He packed his bag. You know, Grandma finished the laundry that he needed. He packed his duffel bag and off to the, the shipyard he went. So, he didn't even have time to call my mom and tell her that he had to cancel the date. So, my mom shows up at the house, all dressed up, all dolled up, and they were like, Glenn's not here. And they explained to her what happened. And, I mean, they'd have to come in the house, and all. And so, my dad was sitting in the TV room at the time, and he says, well, I'll tell you what. He says, you're all dressed up. You look very nice tonight. He said, if you don't mind waiting, he said, I feel it would be an honor to take my brother's place. And he says, if you give me enough time to go up and shave and take a shower, I'll come back down and I'll take you out for supper. My mom was like, oh, no, it's okay. It's fine. It's not a big deal. It's all right. My dad's like, no, seriously, it's okay. I would, be honored to do that. She said, okay, that's fine. So she sat down in the kitchen and talked to my grandma, and my dad went upstairs and shaved and showered and got cleaned up and got dressed and came back down, and they went out for supper and had a great time. And at the end of the date, my dad asked if it would be okay if he were to call her and possibly go out again. And she said, yeah, I think I would like that. And the rest is history. So I thought that was pretty cool to for that to happen that way. I definitely thought it was really, really cool to do that. And my dad's been surprised several times through his short life. As most of y'all already know, my dad died at the age of 46. He died from diabetes. His kidneys failed. And, it's tough growing up without a dad. It really is. But I had a lot of uncles and, to take care of me and to be my father figures. And it really, really means a lot to be able to sit there and, watch them and talk to them and have a cup of mud with them and, sit down and smoke a pipe or a cigar with them, And it's fun, it's kind of cool as an adult. Because as a child, they were really hard on me. They used to drill into me that respect is something you earn, not something you're given. I was taught when your feet hit the floor, you make your bed. And my bed is always made when I hit the floor. And, respect something you earn, not something you're given. And I really, really taught that to Haley as well. And it seems to take, and it seems to be a good thing. Now, I don't know if that's just our bloodline or what, but, it seems that if you raise them that way, they grow up to be good people. And my daughter loves to, give to the community. If she sees somebody and help, she don't just stand there and watch them struggle. She'll get out of the car to help somebody load their groceries. That's just my daughter. And I'm not just saying that to boast to my daughter and say I'm a good dad and everything, because I'm not a good dad. I try. Being a father is probably the hardest job I've ever had. It's never easy being a dad. Because you got to balance that being a dad and being a friend, and you want to earn respect and you want to keep that relationship, because I would much rather her come to me with something than to hide it. And I think I've done a pretty good job with that. We had a really good talk on Friday. We sat down Friday and had a little chat about some stuff, and it was nice that she felt comfortable coming to me saying, Daddy, this needs to, I really think this needs to be addressed. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'll address it. I'll definitely address it. It needs to be addressed. I'll address it. No worries. But, it's important that Haley grow up knowing everything she can about our family. Because I really didn't learn much about our family until I was older. And, the fact that there were 14 boys and 2 girls from my dad's side. My dad was one of 16 children. 12 of them served in the military at one time. That was huge for us. That's a very big piece of family history. I really, really enjoy that, knowing that stuff and knowing like where they've been, and that my Uncle Dan was a POW in Japan during World War II. My other uncle, or a distant relative, was shot and killed in World War II in Italy by a sniper. He was shot and killed. That my Uncle Bob was given a Purple Heart for being shot. It's really cool to learn about where we've been. And, the one thing that I remember them telling me as a young boy, as a young man, I remember them telling me that we may not have given you much, but we've given you our name. And you better do your best to keep it clean. You treat it with respect, dignity, and you don't run it through the dirt. And I did everything that I could to do that. I put our name in the newspaper and on the news several times. However, not boasting, it was for the fire department. It was for doing a good deed. Whether I was involved in a rescue or I was caught on camera at a house fire or something like that. I was interviewed, something like that. But it was pretty cool nevertheless. But I'm proud of where I came from, and I'm proud of my family. And, I remember growing up, this is kind of funny, but I remember growing up, and when I went to my first funeral, where it wasn't a military person and there wasn't a flag over the casket, I thought something was wrong. I was like, what did they do wrong? And they kind of looked at me like I was weird. And I was like, there's no flag. Why is there no flag over the coffin? I didn't understand that it was something you earned. And because on my dad's side, everybody was military. I mean, it was, there was no, qualms. I mean, you were military. And it's just one of those things, I guess. But I remember that happening as a teenager, a young teenager. I was kind of confused. And they had to explain to me the process of it. And that's when I knew that I wanted to do everything I could to make sure that there was one on mine, because I wanted to be like them. And I wasn't able to serve in the military. That's a story for another day. But I was able to serve in the fire department for 18 years active, and I've been a member for 25. So, it's really, really nice to know that my wife and my daughter will be there, handed a flag when I'm called home. So that's a really nice feeling for me. It means a lot because now I know that I'm in the same class as my uncles that I looked up to and my father that I looked up to, that I did right. It means that you were able and you were willing to sacrifice yourself for somebody else. And for those of you that have served in the military, thank you very much. I appreciate your service. And if you're a first responder or in the in that field at all, thank you very much. You are a brother and a sister, and I appreciate you as well. We pray for your safety every day, and it's very important that we honor and appreciate those that do that. So in closings, thank you, Ty, for the wonderful opportunity here. It's almost 15 minutes. I've gone way too long. I apologize. But I got excited to share about some family history. And I hope you enjoy this. Ty, thank you. God bless you, brother. I love you, man. And I hope you enjoy it. And until we can get together and pack a pipe or smoke a good cigar, let all what you do be done out of love. Y'all take care and God bless.